What's good, everybody? It's your boy Ropes. So this is going to be my spoiler review of the Joker film. I went and checked it out a couple of days ago. If you haven't seen the movie, do not watch spoiler videos because it's going to take away from the experience of the movie. You're going to want to be a fresh mind going into this movie because it's pretty deep. All right, there was a lot being said about this movie before it came out. They said that it was going to encourage and make excuses for mass shooters, and it was going to use mental illness as an excuse. You know, just a lot of different things were said before this movie came out. All right, people were acting like they saw the movie before it even came out, already doing reviews on it, and a lot of people who have done reviews on this, who are against the film, have admitted that they haven't even watched the film. You know, so we're going to talk about all that. But first off, man, I got to say that this movie was brilliant. And what was brilliant about it for me was that it's just left open for so many different interpretations. This is a movie that you're going to have to watch several times, even though it's a very uncomfortable film to watch. I mean, I pretty much cringed all the way from the beginning to the end of this movie. All right. Joaquin Phoenix put on a tremendous performance. I think he's going to win an award for this shit because just for him to even want to look so awkward like he did. I mean, you can see his rib cage, and I mean, he really got into this fucking role, man. Great acting. This movie, however, if I can point out a criticism, it doesn't really seem too original. There was two films that came out. One of them was called The Taxi Driver, and the other one was The King of Comedy. I don't know if you guys have seen those films, but they're both starring Robert De Niro. And you can tell, if you've seen those movies, you can tell that they took so much from those two movies. So it doesn't really seem original, but it's an original take on the Joker. So that's kind of where you'll get your enjoyment out of it. But if you're going into this movie, don't think that you're going to see any type of action or it's going to be your typical comic book film, because it's not. Okay, this is a drama. This is a character study. And that's how you should go into this movie thinking, because if you're thinking there's going to be a bunch of action, you're going to come out the movie, you're going to be mad at the motherfucker. Okay. So getting back to what people were saying, all the bad things that people were saying about this movie before it came out. People were saying that it was going to encourage a mass shooter. You know, I don't see how people are saying shit like this when just this year, John Wick 3 came out. Okay, there was more people who died in that movie than in this Joker film. All right, we had Avengers. What was not the Endgame, the one before that? Why can't I think of the fucking name of the movie? Well, the one before Endgame, Part 1, Infinity War. All right. Thanos literally, made excuses to himself of why he needed to eliminate half the population. There was no uproar or anything about that. OK, so I didn't understand why people were choosing this particular film to go after the way they did. And after watching the film, I don't think that anybody was right. I don't think that this film really makes excuses for somebody with mental illness who turns into a killer, because this film is taken from the perspective of the guy, Arthur Fleck, who turns into the Joker. It's all from his perspective the whole time. He's in every scene of the movie. Anytime anybody's talking, he's there. OK, so he's basically narrating the movie. All right. So everything that he does is in his mind. It's all a fantasy. All right. So any people that he killed in the movie, he was justifying it through his mind. OK, and he is mentally ill. All right. It has nothing to do with like the people glorifying him or anything like that. You know, I can see how people can get confused. But once you watch the movie and you see the twist at the end, where basically at the end of the movie, they say that he imagined pretty much everything that we saw throughout the movie. And I believe personally, based off the last scene, and there was a scene also in the middle of the movie where he was in the asylum in that all white room. I believe that he was in there the whole time. I believe that he was pretty much fantasizing about all the events that happened in this movie. All right. So another strange thing, and it's not really a big deal, but there was something that was really strange about this movie, is that there was oddly a lot of black people in this movie, man. And I just didn't get it. Yeah, I mean, now he only killed one of them, I believe, and that's the woman at the end, which they don't even really show. So he could have just imagined that. But at the end of the movie, they show him walking in the asylum in the white room, and he's leaving bloody footprints behind him, and then he starts running from some of the guards there. But man, this is a movie you just have to watch a couple of times, because at the end of it, I couldn't remember what was real and what was actually fake. So I'd have to really go back and watch it again just to see what parts he was imagining and what parts really happened, because as soon as I left the movie theater, I was kind of confused, and I was just really thinking about this movie, man. And that's what this movie does great, is it makes you think. So I highly recommend this movie. It's not going to be for everybody. There is some cringe-worthy stuff in here. There is some uncomfortable stuff in here. And after you watch it a couple times to kind of get the whole movie, it's probably a movie that you probably wouldn't want to watch that often, to be honest with you, because like I say, I mean, Joaquin Phoenix did a great job of making you just cringe at this character, man, and the stuff that he was doing. So that's my review of the movie. I don't think I gave away too much, but I did tell you that he pretty much imagined the whole thing. But if you guys have seen this movie, let me know what you think. Do you think that this is going to encourage a mass shooter, or it makes excuses for mass shooters using mental health as an excuse? If you think that this film can affect people in that way, please let me know. I personally don't think so. I've seen way more violent films than this. I mean, this wasn't even close. So that's my video. That's my review. I'm out. Deuce.